Underwater Panther, thank you for the super chat, says anima, animus views, collective and individual levels. So in our system, I prefer to discuss the mirror self rather than anima and animus, since anima animus is very binary, in that according to the theories of Carl Jung, every man has an inner female known as the anima in their unconscious, and every woman has an inner male in their unconscious known as the animus. For his time, that was very forward thinking, and Carl Jung is an absolutely brilliant thinker. Today, I like to think in terms of the mirror self, which is, instead of putting it in these terms, is just saying everyone has an inner opposite. Everyone has an inner opposite. So a lot of us express ourselves in different ways, and this really is very inclusive to a wide range and spectrum of individuals and gender expressions. Now, you are correct that this imbalance is causing a lot of destruction in our world. The repression of the shadow self and the repression of the mirror self is a very big problem. And this gets expressed through things like sexism, transphobia, and many issues related to gender. And essentially what this is that people have repressed their inner opposite rather than embraced it. And thus they look at this is a form of mirror self projection, is when the self projects both their attraction and hatred of their inner opposite onto another. So in other words, and you can see this a lot, and I'm being very, very general here, but I'm sure you can see a lot of men who hate women, or a lot of women who hate men, but they're also attracted to them in a very paradoxical kind of way. And this usually results in, when you engage in mirror self-projection, this can result in, and I'm being general and kind of stereotypical here because we kind of just, for time's sake, but this can result in, for example, like men seeing women as objects. And it can result in women seeing men as resources to exploit. And so when you have this negative projection, men start looking at women as being like objects for sexualization. Women start looking at men as being resources to exploit. And so you have this weird, a very unhealthy dynamic where people are both attracted to their opposite and hate their opposite at the same time, because it's within them. The inner opposite is actually within them. And so they yearn to unite with that inner opposite, but they also have a hatred towards that inner opposite because it represents everything that they aren't consciously. So they see it as threatening. So anyway, yes, long story short, by integrating into our consciousness our inner opposites, we can resolve a great many of the systems of hatred and division that we see expressed in terms of things like sexism and the attempt to control different genders or different sexes, or transphobia, etc. We can heal that rift by healing the rift within ourselves, because ultimately it stems from not integrating those aspects of ourselves and it being projected in a negative way. Sage, I'm glad you could join us. Nice to see you. Anyway, that was a very good question, Underwater Panther. And so you said collective and individual levels as well. Yes. So the individuals that do not integrate their mirror self, or anima or animus, result in a collective where we have oppressive institutions, such as, for example, a patriarchal society.